We will do quick revision. So yesterday we seen the first step is the process of program development. So which steps we need to follow? First we need a user requirement, then clearly understand user requirement, then we will do the problem analysis, determine input and outputs, then design algorithm. Once these all things will done, then after we know what is exactly requirement, what things we need to do and each and every steps, then our coding will start. Then testing and debugging this continuously follow to these two steps. Then finally is the program documentation. So this is related to the compiler. We have hardware, we have OS, and this is the compiler. So Turbo C is the native compiler of Windows OS, and GCC, I cannot say that is the native compiler, but that is the inbuilt compiler available in the Linux OS terminal itself. So GCC full form is the GNU compiler collection. It is developed by GNU itself. So that name is GNU compiler collection. And if you are using another ID that suppose in Windows OS I am using the Kale ID or Arduino or any other controller or any other MATLAB or any other things. So it is called a cross compiler ID. And next we seen the basic structure of C program. First is the include header files. This is function prototype and function declaration is for our user defined functions. Then global variables. So we will see in this part later in this course each and everything. Then we need minimum one function, main function, and here is the function body that whatever function we have declared here, that function definition will come here. So that part we seen, and then after we have seen this hello.world.c file, and we have print this and written 0, and then after single line comments and multiple line comments. So till now you have any question? No? Then next is the compilation stages. So compilation are divided in the 4 stages. So here my hello world.c. So it is anything other. So this is my .c file here. So one first stage is preprocessor. Next stage is translator. What is each and every steps we will see. First I will write name of that stages. Then translator, after that is the assembler. This is most important for the freshers interview question. What is the compilation stages? This is the most important question. Compilation stages. So first .c will go in preprocessor first stage. .c convert to .i. In translator stage, it's convert to .s format. In the assembler stage, after that, .s is the format of a assembly language. And as in the assembler, it is to O format, and in the linker, after linker stage, it will come to the our executable file a.exe format. In the stage of linker, it is linking with the libraries. All the predefined library that stdio.h and not only stdio that the predefined all the libraries of that is the linker file stage. So compilation process is not directly .c to .exe format. There is the 4 stages is there. So compilation process. Sorry. is not work in one stage. Okay, so we start with each and every. So write down these things and draw this diagram in your book. So we start with the first stage is a preprocessor. So in the preprocessor stage, it do including the header files. So our header file we have include that as include stdio.h, all things like that in our predefined header files, or it is the user defined. So that all things will come into including the header file is in the preprocessor stage. Then next is the it removes the comments. So whatever comments we have written, that remove in this preprocessor stage. Replacing the macros, we will see in the preprocessor chapter. So preprocessor chapter will come at that time. We will see how to make our own header file, how to make macros and each and everything. So it will do replacing the macros. We will see conditional compilation also. So it will do the conditional compilation. So in GCC compiler .c to convert .i format, there is one command for that. We have to write in the terminal gcc hyphen capital E, here space. After gcc we have one space, then hyphen. There, just a second, I will do erase here. Hyphen capital E. So minus line is in the programming language we speak as a hyphen. So hyphen capital E, then space, then file name dot c. So here in our program, our file name is hello world. So we have to write here hello world dot c. Whatever your file name, you have to write like that way. Then space again, then hyphen o, small o, file name dot I. So write down this part, then I will move to VS Code and I will show you how to write this code and how to generate .i file. So this is most important question for interview for fresher. They will ask you in interview what are the compilation stages. Otherwise they will ask how convert .c file to .executable file. Is there any steps or it is direct conversion like that way? They will ask. Okay, if you have not complete, then write down after 1 minute. So I will move to VS Code. Here I will erase this executable file, remove this, delete, move to recycle bin. So I have only one program, hello.c. I will write here gcc hyphen capital E hello.c hyphen small o hello.i. So see here .i file generated. We can able to see what is inside that, and but that is related to the compiler. We cannot able to read that things. So .c to .i convert, for that gcc hyphen capital E hello world.c hyphen small o hello world.i. Then I will again move to the notepad. And next stage is the translator stage. So in the translator stage, it's convert program into the assembly language. That's it. So for that, we have to write in command line gcc space hyphen capital S space filename dot I space hyphen small o space filename dot S. This is also small. Here capital thing is only a hyphen capital S. Okay. So I will move to again VS Code. GCC space hyphen capital S space hello world dot I hyphen small o hello world dot S. So you can see here dot S file is generated and that symbol is ASM. So this is assembly level language code. My code is in .c format. Now it's convert to the assembly format. So after translator, next stage is the assembler. So assembler will convert assembly program into opcodes. So assembler convert assembly program into opcodes. Opcodes are operational codes. So operational codes are the machine understandable. So you can write here. Opcodes are machine understandable. So machine understandable, that means it's binary. So for that we have to write here in the command line gcc space hyphen small c. So here c is small, then space, then hello world dot s space hyphen small o space hello world dot o. So what is exactly all the commands? You can see in the starting here. So dot c to we have convert dot I format. Dot I to we have convert dot S format. And here we are converting dot S to dot O format. So dot O, that means it's the opcodes objects. You can tell that that are the objects. Okay, then I will move to here and I will write here gcc hyphen small c hello world dot s hyphen o hello world dot o. Here my .o object file is generated. We cannot able to open here. So like this way we can generate object files. Then last step is the linker. So linker is responsible for linking with the predefined libraries or linking with the libraries that is available inside our compiler, that is available inside our operating systems, and adds the OS file generated executable file. So you can write here linker is responsible for linking with the libraries and adds the operating system files generated executable file. So when in the linker stage, that is all the predefined libraries available for functions. We will use many functions, predefined functions in later this course. So there is the many libraries available, and that linker is also responsible for OS file generated executable files. Suppose our OS is Windows OS, then linker is responsible for generate file in the format of .exe format. Suppose your OS is the Linux OS. So at that time, it's generated in the .out format. So a.out format is available for Linux OS and .exe format is available for the Windows OS. Like that way, linker is the responsible for the predefined libraries linking that. So that command is gcc, then space, then filename.o. Once we run this command, then our executable file will generate, and that a.exe file we can use for run. So I will go to VS Code and I will write here GCC hello world dot. You can see here a.exe file is not available. Once I will write here dot o and run this code, here a.exe file is generated, and I will write here /a.exe. My code is run. So this is the 4 stages of compiler. Okay. So you have any question till now? This command, you don't want to remember that command. No one will ask you what is the command for we have to convert. This is for your knowledge purpose. But what is the what happened in the linker stage? What happened in the stage of assembler? What happened in the stage of translator? What is the responsible for preprocessor? That things you need to know. What is exactly preprocessor is doing? What is exactly the translator is doing? And assembler. This command is not for the interview or anything purpose, so you can not remember, that's okay, but you need to know about which stage is doing which thing. Okay, done this part, linker stage and each and everything written.
Yep.
Next is the errors in C program. Anyone is here is using Linux OS or MacBook?
I'm using a MacBook.
Okay, in MacBook you have a terminal. I have not used, but it is similar like Linux OS.
Yeah.
Mm, mhm. So in that you can find here in VS Code we will not able to find some errors, but you can try in your MacBook it is available or not.
Okay.
Mhm. So there is two type error. One is called compile time error, and second one is runtime error. So compile time error is generated by compiler. and runtime error is generated by operating system. So when we compile our code, mhm, so suppose I will, so if you have many things available here, you can write here clear command, so it will clear everything. So I suppose I will write here gcc hello world.c. Here if error will come, so that is called compile time error. Before executable file generated, any error will come at the time of compilation. It is called compile time error. And once my code is compiled and a.exe file is ready, then after any error will come, it's called runtime error. So what are the compile time error? There is different things available inside that. So first is the compile time. So first is the preprocessor, then translator stage is any error will come, and third one is the linker. There is no error in the assembler, because assembler is responsible for convert assembly language to only opcodes, so there is no error will come. If error will come in the stage of preprocessor, because preprocessor is the responsible for the including the header files and removing the commands and replacing the macros, like that way. In the translator is translating that file, that is .i format file to preprocessor generated file to the converting in the assembly language. And assembler, there is no error will come, because assembler is responsible for only assembly language to convert into the opcodes. And linker, there is any linking error or library linking error, like that way, at that time it will come. So in the runtime error, first one is the segmentation fault error. So what is segmentation fault and everything, we will see one by one each and everything. Second is the bus error. And third one is the floating point exception error. So we will start. First is the preprocessor. Suppose here instead of small stdio, I will write here capital stdio. Then I will compile my code. Okay, in this VS code, it is by default, it will take. So I will write here. You can try in your MacBook, it is generating error or not. Suppose by mistake I forget write like this way. And I have written like this, as include without that colon and things. So suppose I will come. So here that error will come.
Mm.
Include expect file name or like this format. So it will give description also in the error. Whenever error will come, you have to read description. In the description they will tell each and everything what mistakes you have did. In the VS code it is giving line and here red symbol also where you did a mistake. But as of now you are learner, so don't think this line and compile your code and read from that instruction where what they are telling, and try to resolve by yourself. Don't see here and directly find the problem, you can go to here, that it will show you here is the problem. So this error is came inside that preprocessor stage. Okay. I will clear my screen here. So next is the translator stage. So in the translator stage, suppose I forget to write here brackets. So curly brackets for I will forget to write here. So my function is not complete. So once I will compile my code, it will generate error. So here is the error after return 0, expected declaration or statement at end of input. So this error is generated in the stage of translator stage. You will face many error in future, because starting as much as error you will come, as much as good you will programmer you will become, because from error you will learn many things. Suppose I miss semicolon here and I will compile my code. So this error is came in the stage of translator. So it is showing error expected semicolon before return and line number and row number. Line number 9 and row is this column number is the 33. Okay, that type of error came in the stage of translator. Linker is responsible for linking with the libraries. So printf is the function that is available inside that stdio.h file, but stdio.h file is the library of compiler. So that is not our library, that is predefined library of the compiler. So suppose I will by mistake write here print, not printf. At that time compile time error will come. That is generated by linker. So it is linking with the libraries, that is the predefined library available inside the stdio.h file, but that is not able to linking with that predefined functions or the user defined functions also. So we will see user defined functions at that time also linker is responsible. Linker is linking with that functions, but if not find that function at that time it will generate error. So in this VS code it is giving a LD return one exist, okay, undefined reference to print. Here it's giving a warning, but it's not warning, this is the error. Okay, so in your book write down first in the stage of preprocessor, you have to by mistake you have to like this, you forget these things, or you forget by mistake you have write capital stdio.h, but it will not generate error in the code of VS code, but in the other compiler it will generate error if you write stdio in the capital format. And translator, if you miss any colon or semicolon like that, so it will generate error in the linking. If you wrong written the library functions, so in linker stage linker is searching where the function definition is there. Linker is stage, they will not find any definition for this function, so it will generate error. Next we will move to the runtime errors. So in the runtime error, first is the segmentation fault error. So segmentation fault, that means unauthorized memory we are trying to access. So suppose I will write here, this is a.exe file that is available in my hard disk. So whenever we write here ./a.exe, at that time it is loaded into the RAM first. So it will make one space in our RAM. Whenever any exe file, any application is running, that is the making some space in our RAM. So this is loaded for execution. So it get scheduler will give the time to that file, and then it will loaded for execution, and it will in the step of the process, and execution will done in the processor. So this is my processor is called as a CPU. So that is your Intel processor or any other processor, i7 i5, like that way. So it will give loaded for execution in the RAM, and then after it will go to the execute file in the CPU. So RAM is not responsible for executable file, execute your program and all things. So write down for your knowledge purpose, in the RAM can't execute program. CPU or processor is the responsible for your execute your program. Okay, so every program or whatever program we will write or whatever application we are running, and each and everything, so every program little bit memory in RAM. So whenever we execute, that is the little bit space is available for the RAM, but OS is responsible for generating error. At the runtime, OS is responsible for generating error. So I will write one program, but in I will write here new program p1.c. So what is integer I, and we will see later. But for your, you have to try in your MacBook, because in here it will not generate error, because VS Code have take care about this error. But in the Linux, I have generated the error. But unfortunately, Linux environment is not available with me now. Enter one number, then I will scan that data from the user. So for printf, we have for print we have printf functions. So for scanf, scan from user, we have scanf function is available. So what is scanf, we will see later. So what is percentage %d is the format of decimal, and then here address of I, and whatever data user will enter, that we need to print. So I will write here I is equal to percentage %d slash n. I will explain you what is scanf, what is printf once we will complete the data section at that after that. So you can see here it is showing me one error, and that is red line here. So I have written INR instead of integer, and I will write here written 0. Suppose I will enter number, so my I is 10. But by mistake, suppose I forget that address of I. So at that time, it will generate error. But here it is not generating error, because they have showing the address of this and 4 byte data of that, but we will see what is exactly meaning of that address at the scanf. We will see after when we complete our data segment tomorrow, and then after we will see what is exactly that integer I have written and what are the different data types available, and each and everything we will see tomorrow. But you Kashyap, you try in your MacBook, if you have not written here address, it is generating error or not runtime.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's runtime error, not compile time error. So it will generate error segmentation fault.
Yep.
Mhm. So segmentation fault, that means unauthorized memory we are trying to access. So what is exactly meaning of address of I? So in the scanf, we are expecting data at the runtime. So our code is already compiled and we are expecting data from the user at the runtime. So at the runtime here address, that means we are giving some space to memory. So that space, for that we need address symbol. So here I have not written address symbol. So because of that reason it is generating segmentation fault error. You are trying to access unauthorized memory. Okay. In detail we will see tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And when you will use through about this scanf and all the functions, then you will easily understood what is exactly of that. Next error is the bus error. So in bus error is the hardware related error. So memory is not available in hard disks. And we are trying to access that memory. At that time it will generate bus error. But we want to access that memory. So at that time error will generate, that is the bus error. That means whenever we write program, we need address of each and everything. So suppose I have written integer I, so some address will allocate by memory. So suppose the I have allocated address is the 1000 location of the memory, and whatever I will store data, that is the 10, it will store in that particular location. But suppose I have given at the time of pointer, we will see how to access that address and how to write that address and each and everything we will see in detail in the pointers concept. But suppose I have given here unauthorized address that is not available in my hard disk. So my hard disk different location is available, but out of that location I will assign one particular location. At that time, at the runtime it will find the address, but it hard disk there is no available address in the hard disk, so it will generate that error, is bus error. If you will face in future anytime this type of bus error, so that meaning is that is not available space inside the hard disk and you are trying to access that particular location.
Yogin, I am a little bit confused on bus error and segmentation error, because in both we are saying we are accessing the memory which is unauthorized. I mean, what is the difference between first and the second error?
Okay, so first error is you have did some mistake in your code. Unauthorized memory, that is suppose you have mistake in your code and you are trying to allocate the location, that is the unauthorized memory. In bus error, suppose you are writing data continuously and your stack is full. and then after also you are trying to access. So that is the continuously infinite loop is occur,
Okay.
and that is address is not available in your location
Okay.
memory. That at the time bus error will generate, and segmentation fault, that means we are by by mistakenly unauthorized memory we are trying to access.
Okay.
You
Got
will face error, and at that time you will understand what is exactly bus error and what is exactly the segmentation fault error. So go through this course one by one day, you will understood. So when you use through about this all terms, when the pointer concept and array concept will complete, you will understood how address is allocated and how memory is allocating and which type of mistakes we are doing.
Okay.
And next is the floating point exception error. Okay, so in the floating point exception, there is the, suppose I will do divide by 0, any number 10 divided by 0. What is that? That is the infinite number. So because 10 divided by 0, then any divide by 0, that things are not allowed in the program. But at the compile time, it will not generate any error. But at the time of runtime, it will generate error. That error is the floating point exception. Again, this error will not generate in the VS Code. Infinite are not possible in any programming. So infinite are not possible. You cannot able to divide to 0 any number.